justice, temperance, wisdom, courage. Applying ancient philosophy to modern times, this is the Sunday Stoic. Welcome to the Sunday Stoic. Today's episode is on sex. Viewer discretion is advised. So what was the Stoic view of sex? I don't think you can answer that one way. It's like asking what is the human view on sex. There's a bit of diversity here between especially the early Stoics and the later Stoics. And once again, not an expert here. I've read a little bit. And I got a little bit of information from the great Massimo Pigliucci's blog. I'll put a link to that here. I followed up on some of his links and read the Lives of Eminent Philosophers by Diogenes Laertius. And there's a few little snippets I'm going to read on the show today that will hopefully allow us to compare the early Stoic view to the later Stoic view. The Lives of the Eminent Philosophers on Diogenes. When behaving indecently in the marketplace, he wished it were as easy to relieve hunger by rubbing an empty stomach. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more, say no more. The Enchiridion, number 33. Before marriage, guard yourself with all your ability from unlawful intercourse with women. Yet be not uncharitable or severe to those who are led into this, nor frequently boast that you yourself do otherwise. All right, so what do we get from those readings? Well, there's a big difference between early Stoics and later Stoics. The first reading is about Diogenes, who was not a Stoic, but a cynic, but someone that the Stoics, especially Epictetus, looked up to as a really strong example of someone who's close to being a sage. And basically, he was known for touching himself in public, at least in this reading he did that, and when everyone's like, oh my god, look what he's doing, he's like, hey, if I could rub the hunger out of my belly, I'd do the same thing. And that was his comeback line for that. So obviously that's a little different than you'd expect, Marcus Aurelius to behave, right? I don't imagine Marcus doing that, or Seneca or Epictetus, right? So also, I didn't do a reading on it because it's only one line, but Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, he actually recommends kind of a free love relationship between sages, where if you are a sage in this he wrote a book called The Republic, which we do not have today. It's gone, but apparently in that book, he said that sages would live together in the perfect republic, and it'd kind of be a free-for-all. So we're maintaining relationships with each other, friendly relationships, and one of the ways to do that is through sex. Everyone would sleep with everyone, but also females would sleep with females, and males would sleep with males. So once again, a little different than the later Stoics' view of sexual proper conduct. A little more... Anyway, and then we see the change then when we get to the Enchiridion with the teachings of Epictetus, where he says, try to stay away from sex before you're married, at least unlawful sex. I'm not sure what that means, but anyway, stay away from unlawful sex, and don't judge others who get it on a lot, but Don't judge them, and don't brag about how abstinent you are, right? So that's one of the things I think, even though it sounds, the later Stoics sound a lot more like modern Christianity, perhaps, in terms of don't have sex before marriage and things like that. They also put in the big, and don't judge others if they do engage in sex before marriage and everything else. Whereas in my experience growing up, there was a whole lot of judging going on at the church. But we see this difference in the view of eros, the erotic passion, between the early Stoics and the late. In the early Stoics, it looks more like it was it was a positive passion, as long as it probably didn't get carried, didn't get you carried away into other vices. But you wouldn't want to pursue sex at the cost of virtue. And if you were a perfect sage, all the perfect sages could get together and study Stoicism all night long. But the later Stoics obviously thought that they had a much more stricter view. So there's no one viewpoint here, and like I've said, Stoicism is not a religion. You have to make up your own mind where you fall on this. And my personal view would be somewhat libertarian, I guess. As long as two individuals are okay with the relationship they're involved in, then knock yourselves out. Well, I should say two or more individuals. As long as they're okay with the relationship they're engaged in, knock yourselves out, as long as you're not hurting anyone around you. So if you are in a relationship with someone else and they think your relationship is mutual, and then you go off and engage in activities with some other people, then your spouse is hurt by that. That would be wrong. So engage in these activities in a virtuous way. Don't think of sex as dirty and nasty, right? But do think that your behavior can be dirty and nasty if you're hurting others, and if you're acting unvirtuously to accomplish those aims. So pursue things with dignity, with virtue, and be a good person. All right, that's enough of that. And carpe diem, stay stoic. I'll catch you later.